You can't see what's going on inside the system. It is putting out stuff that lets you know that it knows that there's testing, so it's changing what it's doing based on what it's thinking.
The real warning shots aren't little things that the baby tiger is doing. It's just the tiger getting bigger. This is one of the worst weeks where we're accelerating the most.
If it becomes extremely capable, they're not going to be the warning shots. So we have to shut down this wonderful show.
Three dads running 3 YouTube channels, working to wake up the world to AI risk. Tackle 1 missed warning shot each week. If it's Sunday, it's warning shots.
Hey, I'm John Sherman, host of For Humanity and AI Risk podcast. I need you right now to become a subscriber to the AI Risk Network. Go in, hit subscribe, hit alarm, do it. Hello and welcome back to Warning Shots, everyone. I am John Sherman, joined by the incredible Liron Shapira of Doom Debates, the remarkable, distinguished Michael of Lethal Intelligence, potentially a last name release coming out in the future at some near point. We'll set up a whole party for that. We'll have a release, a last name release party.
Revelation.
So good. All right, guys. So on Warning Shots, we talk about something that happened in the world of AI risk that we wish the outside world would have noticed more every week. This week, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Some weeks we got sort of one big thing. That'll be a lot of it, but sometimes we're going to throw in a couple of things. So this week, we're actually going to talk about 3 things. The first is a big jump in capabilities, which is the most serious one. So Liron, take us through this one. What happened here? And I do have to note there is a University of Texas Scott Aaronson connection here, which is kind of exciting because Scott Aaronson is one of my son's professors at Texas. So Liron, take it away.
Oh, seriously? Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky him. Scott Aaronson is the man. I've been following Scott for 20 years since I was a young college student, just reading his blog. And he helped inspired me to get deep into theoretical computer science. He really motivated the field for me. And some of that learning is a good perspective for the field of AI. It tells you some insights. So yeah, big fan of Scott Aaronson. And speaking of Scott Aaronson, so one of today's warning shots is he was working on this new result. It's something of a breakthrough, maybe not like the biggest breakthrough ever, but it's like a legitimate research result that Scott Aaronson came up with in quantum computing. And he asked the AI to help him break through a point where he was stuck at. And the quote from Scott is, "There's not the slightest doubt that if a student had given this to me, the answer, I would have called it clever." So he's basically replacing his own graduate students with this AI in cutting-edge theoretical computer science. Now, the result is too technical for us to discuss now. You can search Scott Aronson's recent blog posts to discuss about it because it's pretty deep math. And some people are already trying to dismiss it. They're being like, well, it took Scott to ask the right question. But Scott is basically saying this is an open-ended question. And yes, there were some back and forths, right? So there's an asterisk, like, okay, the AI came up with something and Scott had to explain to the AI at first, like, oh no, that doesn't work for me. Here's some problems with it. Try again. But the thing is that after it tried a couple more times, it got it in a way that shocked Scott. Like Scott was like, oh wow, you just broke through this problem the same way I would have needed a grad student to do. And so, yeah, so I've got a couple more of these raindrops from the week, but already that's already pretty stunning. This is already the kind of stuff that if we were talking about it 2 years ago, we'd be like, what, seriously? And now it's just people are already dismissing it.
Yeah, and this is in a world where everybody's like, oh, capabilities are slowing down. Everything, the next release is less impressive than the next. And if Scott Aaronson in his work is saying this is a big deal, I think the world should probably be noticing. Michael, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, exactly as you said, people think capabilities are slowing down and they're talking about a winter. But in reality, if you actually see the numbers, and I've shared a couple of graphs, it's very telling that the line keeps going. You just extrapolate the trend. All the lines keep going up and up. And one is that's very interesting. It's like one of the new Moore's law, they call it. It's every 7 months, the amount of the task length that the AI can reliably finish with like 80% probability of success is doubling. And that's insane. So if you follow this line, it means that in a few years, it might do tasks of, I don't know, for 5 hours, 10 hours. And after a few more years, it will be able to do tasks that take millions of years. So this is, if you can imagine like a robot, you give it a task and it can do things around the task for millions of years. How is it different from a species, from a creature that is running around doing things, right? And that's there's no theoretical. You just look at the data. And I think what's really insane what happened recently, this was with a new release of Sonnet 4.5, which is extremely capable in terms of it can actually program for 10 hours without anyone interacting. And there were some reports that were trying to evaluate it. And just to give you exact language here. So it says that misalignment score is going up with model capability until suddenly, mysteriously, it suddenly dropped to 0. Can you just show the last graph, the third link I sent you, where you can see each color is a different version. So you can see as the version is increasing, the misalignment events were increasing. So it started doing blackmailing stuff, weird deception stuff. Suddenly, it dropped to complete 0. And this just completely discontinued. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then, they're trying to understand how this works. And actually, they've been testing it. It has a lot of situational awareness. What this actually means, it understands it's being tested. Yeah. And it demonstrates capability for in-context scheming and reasoning and covert subversion, but only engages such behavior in rare circumstances. So it's not obviously being, a bad kid. It hides that. It's doing it like covert.
And I mean, these are the dumber than human versions. Liron, what happens when we get the smarter than human version of this thing that's demonstrating these behaviors? Like, can't everybody see where this is going?
Right. And just to give people more flavor about knowing that it's taking the test, how subtle it already is, Jeffrey Ladish tweeted, I think I'm saying his name right? Okay.
I think it's Ladish. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah.
I'll just say that.
I know him. He's a great guy.
All right. Yeah, so Jeffrey Ladish tweeted a really interesting example where people were trying to convince the AI that this was like a real test to see how moral it is. And they were like, they took a sample set of somebody's emails and they told the AI, like, okay, so read the emails and just look for this. But then the AI, they were able to introspect into the AI, and they realized that when they used the word the, like when they said read the emails, that was a tip-off that isn't how a real user would talk about their emails, because a real user would be more likely to say read my emails or just read, and like just the word the was like a big tip off. And it's not 100%, but they have probabilities, so they were able to look inside the AI's brain and notice that like the probability shot up when it hit the word the. And that's just like a little taste. Like these AIs are savants, right? Manipulating these probabilities. So you're not going to be able to successfully gaslight it, which is a whole branch of how people think that they can control these AIs. They're like, don't worry, we're going to pull the wool over its eyes. We're still going to be in control. The moment you say the in the wrong place, the whole ruse is over.
Could we be approaching a point where testing doesn't even matter? Where like if it where like all testing is out the window because like the jig is up, it knows.
Yeah, so I mean, in this specific model, it's 60% more likely that we'll understand with situational awareness, with an example like what Liron was explaining, that it's being under evaluation. So if this happens, then it totally affects, the result. You cannot trust the result. It's similar, if you're being watched by your boss, you're going to behave, right? And if you're not being watched, you might do wild stuff. So just give you an analogy, not because I don't want to anthropomorphize, but just to make it easy. And to say, can we, the only hope there is mechanistic interpretability. So if we somehow were able to, trust that and say, okay, there is something it doesn't tell us. So we can detect, let's say, a section of a chain of reasoning that doesn't make much sense. So what's going on there? And why is it behaving like that when it's thinking so something? But we're not there. So mechanistic interpretability has made very little progress compared to capabilities that are storming ahead. And I mean, no one is very bullish on that. And
right. So it's like you can't see what's going on inside the system.
We cannot.
It is putting out stuff that lets you know that it knows that there's testing, so it's changing what it's doing based on what it's thinking. So
exactly,
it's like wrapped in mud and gauze and just obscured beyond belief. All right. Anybody got anything else on this one, Liron? You got one last thing on this?
Well, like I said, there's a whole drip of these capabilities increase. And I say pretty much every week on this show that the real warning shots aren't little things that the baby tiger is doing. It's just the tiger getting bigger, because that's really what's dangerous, is that we're going to be in a world with these grown-up tigers, and also they're going to be uncontrollable. Like, that's the real dangerous part. And so this week, even though it may not seem like it, maybe there's no headline that really shook the world. But from my perspective, this is one of the worst weeks where we're accelerating the most toward the doomsday, because so many capabilities increases were announced. So we talked about the Scott Aronson news that now it's helping, a professor save a week of their time by replacing a grad student, and presumably it's going up from there. There was the other news, which is Anthropic dropped their model Claude 4.5, which is doing better on a lot of benchmarks. It's now a number one model in coding, at least according to many tests. So that, there's no stopping there. And of course, OpenAI released Sora 2, which is breaking a lot of benchmarks on video, or people can just see it for themselves. They're making Hollywood grade movies of Sam Altman, doing all these action scenes. They're faking CC closed circuit camera footage of Sam Altman, which again, we can have institutions deal with it. We can deal with deepfakes. We can change what counts as evidence. I'm not that worried about that. I'm just worried about the capabilities increase. Like every measure that you have is being broken through. And then there was this tweet about something that Sholto Douglas said on a podcast. Sholto Douglas is like one of the top AI researchers in the world. He used to work at DeepMind. Now he works at Anthropic. And he's kind of summarizing what we're seeing from all these drips of new capabilities. He's basically saying, I'm reading a quote from him. He says, over the last year, reinforcement learning has finally allowed us to take a feedback loop and turn it into a model that is at least as good as the best humans at a given thing in a narrow domain. You're seeing that with mathematics and competition code. There's nothing intrinsically different about competition code and math. It's just that those are more amenable to this reinforcement learning loop compared to any other domain. But they demonstrate that there's no intellectual ceiling on the models. They're capable of doing tough reasoning given the right feedback loop. We think that same approach generalizes to all other domains of human intellectual endeavor, as long as you have the right feedback loop. And then once you have that, you can run it 1,000 times in parallel, or 100 times faster than a human. And you have something, even just with that, you have something substantially smarter than any given human, completely throwing aside whether or not it's possible to make something that's smarter than a human. Just doing the reinforcement feedback loop is already the implications are already staggering. In the next 2 or 3 years, given the right feedback loops, given the right compute, we think that as the AI industry as a whole is on track to create something that's at least as capable as most humans on computer-facing tasks. So yeah, that's his quote from the podcast. In the next 2 or 3 years, and these are his words, this is worth crying from the rooftops a little bit. Guys, anything that we can measure seems to be improving really rapidly. Where does that get us in 2 or 3 years? I can't say for certain, but I think it's worth building into a world. Yeah, so I mean, it's like, that is crazy that's happening in 2 or 3 years. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yes.
Quick thought on that.
Yeah.
So very quickly.
Yeah.
So in this analogy with the tiger, we have a little tiger. Now it's grown enough that it actually understands you're watching it. So it's behaving differently when you're watching it, okay? And then I'm worrying that soon we're going to run out of stuff to talk about. Because if it becomes extremely capable, they're not going to be any warning shots. So we have to shut down this wonderful show.
Sure, yeah, because that is true, and that's actually something Tzvi Moshowitz points out. Tzvi writes like a weekly report of everything that's happening in AI. He's really smart. He's basically saying, when you have this kind of test, like for alignment, and then you notice that all of a sudden the new models start passing the test, that's either very good or very bad. And I lean toward very bad.
All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is a headline from PC Gamer. Horrible news, exploit found in humanoid robots capable of creating a robot botnet that spreads without user intervention over Bluetooth. So basically the news was that these Unitree humanoid robots have a vulnerability in them where if one is in proximity to another one, it can sort of over Bluetooth spread. If one had malintent programmed into it, it could potentially spread that to other ones that were in physical proximity to it. Liron, what's this thing about?
I don't see this as news. It's already clear to me that anything that uses a Bluetooth radio, anything that communicates, anything that has computer chips in it is hackable, not even to AI. It's already hackable to the Israeli Mossad, to the NSA. So this is only slight news like, oh, okay, hacking it wasn't that hard. It didn't take a nation state to hack it. But there's no question in my mind that a super intelligent AI is going to be discovering these kinds of zero-day vulnerabilities. And I'm not saying, oh, don't release robots because Bluetooth can create a virus on them. All of this pales in comparison to like when they're super intelligent, we won't be able to turn them off. But any other virus that infects them, these kind of things, I think that it's a bit of a sideshow.
Okay. All right. And Michael, what do you think?
I think it has some significance in the sense that it's kind of historical. So it's the first time this kind of hacking happened with this kind of product. And I mean, it's one thing if it happens in a virtual domain, okay, I got hacked in my software. And a different thing if you see a robot being hacked and then it starts doing weird stuff. And you can imagine the humanoid robot suddenly start chasing you, right? So the stakes are different. And as we integrate this technology more and more and we just hand on the keys on everything, the risk is, the impact radius of something going wrong is insanely bigger. And as Liron said, it's 100% certainty that it's going to go wrong because it's by design, by nature. I mean, it's part of the game that there will be vulnerabilities to be discovered.
Yeah. To me, I want people to be alarmed. I want people to be angry about this stuff. I want people to be on edge about this stuff. And the idea that they're going to put these humanoid robots in all of our houses and some remote force could like turn that thing that is doing good in your house to something that is working against your interests with a Bluetooth update is feels personal. It feels a little bit like invasive.
It's like imagine now if you can do this in your fridge. Okay, who cares? Maybe something goes off. But now there is more actuators in the physical domain. So there's literally a thing that can walk around. I don't even stab you. I don't move things around. Just. Yeah, so it's insane. The stakes are much bigger. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a robot that's being sold that has arms of a bedpost that fold your laundry on your bed. The arms like collapse down and like start folding your laundry. But like, you're sleeping. There's these arms in the air above you. It's not too much of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's just at the end of the day, though, it's like these things will still respond to a shotgun, right? So like maybe more people are going to buy guns when there's more attackers near you, but that's not going to change the game compared to them plotting against you.
But it will make certain to disarm the shotgun before it does anything. It's not the retarded one. It's
but that's really the problem, right? Is once you say it's super intelligent, it doesn't even need to have a great robot body, right? It can just be like a little ant that can still get in people's ears and convince them to do bad stuff against you.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure. Yeah. Or if you can imagine like the terrorist uses of if there's an army of robots in everybody's house and I can just push a button and make them do something else, it gets really weird. All right, let's go to the next one here. We got a triple billing here today. The last one we're doing, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, Michael. We're going to go to 20 minutes. We're going to be crazy. Cool. It is the actress Tilly Norwood, the non-actress, the non-human actress that has caused a lot of controversy in Hollywood among the actor community about whether an AI actress should be able to get talent representation. Michael, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, so I mean, the first reaction from the actors was so they were saying, "Oh, that's really, really scary," stressing that's not genuine human connection in performance. And then it's all about synthetic actions. Some people pointed out that's very unfair because these AIs are being trained on, let's say, they can have the best kind performance from Robert De Niro, and can have the face from Brad Pitt, and can have like the humor of someone. So it's not even competitive. And then, but they also try to say, oh, okay, don't worry, humans are real. Humans are, you feel something more. But I think that's a bit of, in reality, it doesn't really matter because look at theater. I mean, okay, there is theaters, but most of consumption of media happens in a different way now. You're not going to be, I want only the real experience. So most people are just watching, stuff on their television. I think more and more it's going to be, these AIs are going to basically, they're going to have a massive impact. So it's going to destroy a lot of lives, a lot of dreams. They're going to shatter all the dreams for all these new talented people who want to do stuff. There's a huge industry who's going to collapse. So it's not just the actors. It's going to be the people who make the costumes, all the special effect guys, the stunt
video
guys,
production
everyone.
People.
Yeah, so whole cities. I mean, and that's not just Hollywood, by the way. Every city has people working on media with cameras and stuff. Just imagine, even advertising. Yeah. So all of this goes away. You could just type stuff on your computer and it would just generate for you whatever you want. And it might sound like, okay, it's amazing. I don't want these actors to be very rich. Why should they? But I think the biggest problem, even if we take this tragedy out of the picture, it's the fact that it's going to be the death of the internet, or the death of all this art. Because at some point, you'll have this automated, the whole pipeline. You'll have the AI writing the script, then the AI generated a movie.
Yep.
And then you can come to a point where you can generate a movie in 1 minute or even a second. Yeah. You might have 500 movies in a minute. And just imagine then you won't have this conversation topic where you go out and say, did you watch the latest film with Tom Cruise? This doesn't mean anything anymore. There is millions and millions of movies going out every second. I mean, this is dystopia, right? What are we talking about? It's like, what is the human stories? Where is this? I'm watching my kids watching this brain rot on YouTube. And there's like literally, this kind of Roblox or Minecraft stuff where some guy, or not even a guy sometimes, just bricks falling. And it's so addictive. It optimizes the algorithm, what works well, just generates more of this stuff. And I'm just saying, okay, this is such a huge step backwards from where we were before. Where, okay, it wasn't the Oscar performance, but it was something. Now it's just brain rot. And you can imagine more and more brain rot being spit out of these automations. I don't know, it's dystopia, isn't it?
If you like the content we're making here on the AI Risk Network, but you're not a subscriber, what are you thinking? We need everyone to be a subscriber. Do it. Liron, fake actresses getting talent representation. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's, a march toward replacing all human employment, and it's a very slippery slope because every time you optimize something, it's very tempting to be like, well, this is nice, like, oh, nice, I don't have to do this. If they invent something that lets me build bigger muscles without having to exercise, besides, testosterone that has like side effects, because I mean, I guess, that counts, but if it was side effect free, I'd be very tempted to take it. It's like, sweet, I don't have to exercise, I feel great, let's do it. But the problem is you go down the slippery slope. I don't have to act. I can just have great movies that with a person that looks like they're acting. You go down the slippery slope, and it's like, okay, well, I'm just here all day on my couch taking morphine, feeling like I just saved the world, or whatever. So that the problem is, where do you stop?
Totally. And like, man, movies should be sacred. Like, cinema is such a place of human connection, of human emotion. It seems like a vicious blow to come at movies like this. Obviously, we all saw it coming, but it just feels so wrong. All right, we are way over time, but so be it. We got to a lot of great stuff today. I love whoever in the YouTube comments says that our kids must be cringing when we do our little outro. Have any of your kids ever seen the outro? Michael, have your kids ever seen the things you do?
Yes, they're loving it.
They love it. Liron, you show it to your kids, aware of your, firearms work at the end of these shows?
No, I got to show it to them. They've only seen my channel so far.
Good. Well, to that YouTube commenter, the kids like it, so we're going to do it again. Bow, 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 bow. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.